Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Tim Spiers. Tim, we're at Compton Park for Nuno's pre-match press conference ahead of the big game against Manchester United tomorrow night. Look, I think obviously disappointing Burnley on Saturday, but at the same point, he wants to draw a line underneath it and start again.
Well, he wants a better performance, doesn't he? I mean, as he often says, it's not necessarily about the results. It's about the performances, and they weren't good enough on Saturday. He said Burnley was smarter than them. Thought it's probably a good way of summing it up, really. Yeah. And he wants a reaction tomorrow. I mean, you know, there's so much focus on Sunday from the whole club, from fans, from everybody, journalists, and it's they've got a big game tomorrow. Yeah. And as Matt Doherty said on Saturday, they can't let the league season peter out now. They've had such a good season. They're now only 2 points ahead of 11th.
Yes.
And it's a tightening race for 7th. And tomorrow's a big game in that respect.
It is a big game. Now, can they, if it's a perform like
when Man United come to town, big game, full stop.
Do they need a game like this? Is this what brings the best out of them? And we've talked about the whole top 6 situation against the bottom 6. Do they need? Is this a good game for them?
Well, I guess we'll know tomorrow if they are distracted by Sunday, because against every Big 6 team this season, they've played well and either beaten them or taken a point or lost narrowly. There's only Man City away when they had 10 men after 10 minutes. So if they get thrashed tomorrow, then I think we can safely say that they've sort of got one eye on Sunday. Yeah. Look at it in a positive way. If they were to beat Man United tomorrow on a night game at Molineux, full house. Yeah. Literally, that's the perfect setup for Sunday. Sure. Because you'll take that confidence, that momentum, that feel-good factor. Whereas if you're going on the back of 2 defeats, there's a bit of a cloud hanging over the air. Players perhaps question themselves. Nuno perhaps with an issue with team selection. However, there's a couple of schools of thought over team selection. Does he go strongest 11 tomorrow, win the game? Like I said, that would be a perfect setup for Wembley. Or does he rest a few?
Don't say it's the strongest 11
for fresh legs.
Don't say it's the strongest 11. Yeah. I say Nuno's eyes. He picks. It's kind of a horses for course, isn't he? He picks a team to win the game. Yeah. I think that's what he's trying to get across. How do you feel he will approach it? Obviously, Ryan Bennett is available now. You think he will be pushing for a starting slot?
That's the thing. But like I said, two schools of thought really. Does he stick with his strongest 11? I mean, the game's Sunday. It's Tuesdays to Sunday. That's 5 days. It's not like it's Wednesday to Saturday like Man City have got for their semi-final. So. Difficult one. It's a really, really difficult one. I think that leaving Jimenez and Doherty out of the team on Saturday didn't send the best sign to the rest of the players, and also then in practice they struggle so much with that Jimenez as that focal point. They haven't got an alternative to him. That's their choice. But when he's not in the team, they have to play differently, and they're not as effective as a team. So. But if Jimenez starts tomorrow and pulls his hamstring after 10 minutes, then wow, that's a massive problem for Sunday. So it's a really fine balancing act.
And I guess if you want Jimenez to start, you probably, in an ideal world, you want to take him off to 60, but there's no way in a million years that they're going to be out of sight or have that luxury. No. So then you're probably looking at Jimenez starting and playing the majority of the game, if not all of it. Then you look at the Sunday aspect as well, and then maybe it's 4 or 5 days. They've got another. There's a lot of questions, isn't there?
Yeah, totally.
It's going to be difficult.
I mean, the one for me to pinpoint would be Jota, because he's been the most injury prone. I think he's had 3 muscle strains of different varieties this season. He'd be the most susceptible, judging on the record this season, to picking up an injury. I'd be nervous if he started. But there are a number of players you could pinpoint that can play 3 in a week, aren't there?
Yes.
Cody we know will plays every minute. I'd say Doc, although he didn't start Saturday, could do. Bolly, Saiz, Dendoncker. Saiz and Dendoncker haven't had a huge amount of football this season. They've only come into teams sort of since Christmas. So you can pinpoint and identify a number of players that can play throughout the week.
But then you look at Vinagre, Gibbs White.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because you've got these options, right? They've all done something recently. Vinagre's unbelievable against Cardiff. Gibbs White's had a couple of good cameos recently. Traore, very, very good in his last 2 starts against Cardiff and Burnley. You can go through the whole bench, really. Like I say, Bennett's back now as well. Costa, we know, hasn't done much for a while, but he'll be keen to prove himself. Cavalera's done bits and bobs here and there. So, use the squad. I think that'd probably be my conclusion. But we'll see what Nuno does.
But like you said, they don't want to one more loss, and they could find themselves 11th.
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Well, it is, and suddenly, suddenly
4 teams now.
Yeah, well, you've got Everton, Leicester, West Ham and Watford all around. But for me, the fixture list now looks tough.
Yeah, it does.
On the back of a defeat, admittedly, really, but you've got Brighton and Southampton fighting for their lives. You've got United, Arsenal, Liverpool on the last day, Watford away, And then Fulham at home, who will surely be relegated by then, is the only one you look at and say, yeah, great chance for 3 points. Fulham at home, yeah. But otherwise, it suddenly looks like a really difficult fixture list. So, having said all that, if you win the FA Cup, no one will give a damn.
No one will care. No one will care. They can finish 12th. I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you say about selection dilemmas. Traore could play up front. Could play right of a front three. Could play right wing back. I mean, he is versatile, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought, and Nuno, rare praise from him in today's press conference. Said he was pleased with his performance, and mostly impressed by his versatility, because it's a small squad, 16 outfield players. If you've got someone who can play 3 positions, that's huge. They like that. That's one of the reasons that they were so keen to bring like Dendoncker in, and Zinchenko. They tried; he could play a few positions. So we've seen Traore. They've tried to sort of convert him to a striker. Didn't really work out. We know his preferred position is right of a front three. They don't play that anymore. So suddenly, right wing back. I was concerned about him defensively on Saturday against McNeil. The Danesman on the left, but he was fine, absolutely fine. And Wolves' his best player, did what he did best. And I'd like to see him start again tomorrow. Whatever happens, really, I think.
Well, I was going to say, if he played the same formation, then would you give Doc that little bit more rest and bring him in for Watford on Sunday?
I mean, I'd love to see Traore alongside Jimenez and see what they can do together.
Traore up front. Do you not think that's the weaker of the 3 positions?
But if it's more, if Jimenez is there, it takes the load a little bit off in terms of playing
running channels and taking defenders away,
and being in and around the back 2 and everything. Whereas it kind of float around, maybe make some runs beyond the back line. But we'll see what Nuno's got planned for him. He tends to like players being in a kind of set position, and that's their position. We saw Dendoncker as a defender at the start of the season. Then he's a midfielder, and that's sort of his position now. Sais has moved around a bit as well, so we'll see.
This team that are coming up, travelling, they're all right as well, aren't they? Useful-ish. New manager now, permanent.
Absolutely. However, last 3 games, they lost to Arsenal, lost to Wolves, of course, and then unconvincing against Watford on Saturday. Watford, by all accounts, should have got a point out of that game. And United laboured to victory, and Solskjaer was critical of them afterwards. So their injury list is easing. Lukaku and Martial should both start tomorrow.
I thought Martial got injured on Saturday.
Solskjaer said today that he's okay. Lukaku as well. So they've got nearing a full strength team to choose from, and a massive game for them. You look at that. Talk about the top 7 race being tight. What about top 4?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Down to single points between 3rd and 6th now. So big game for them. It'll be really tough.
Predizione?
It'll be really tough. I'd love to give one when I know what the team is.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Good luck with your likely lineups.
Yeah, it is a lot up in the air. I think that Wolves will be. I think Wolves will go for it more than we think they will, and I think spurred on by a full house at Molineux, and with United in different form, they can get a 1-1 draw.
Nice. 2-1 for me.
2-1
for me. Tim, Joe Edwards, and Tim and Joe Edwards will be at Molineux tomorrow night. Well, I don't know where I'm going to be, because it's my last day apparently.
Oh yeah, April Fool.
For all the build up on this one, make sure you log on to expressandStar.com.